Hey everyone, Jessica here from Stitching Colours. Welcome or welcome back to another Flosstube, and today is the 1st of July. I can't believe we're pretty much halfway through the year now, so it's really going to start flying by if it hasn't been doing so already. So today I have 7 pieces to show you that I've worked on over the last week, and I have done 6,294 stitches. Could have been better, could have been worse. It's been a bit of a chaotic week. So first piece I have to show you today is Celtic Summer. This is a lavender and lace piece, and you should be seeing where you saw it last time, and here is where we're at now. I'm testing a different light, so I'm just seeing if it's going to work or if I'm better to turn it off. It actually is showing up the colour of the fabric better, so we might leave it be. Okay, so this is where I've got to on Celtic Summer. Over the last week, I have been focusing on some of these little motifs. They're just missing the beads now, and I think there's another 3 to go at the bottom. Then I was also working more on her skirt, and you may notice in particular that I have gotten relatively close, I think, to the edge over this end, the right side. So it's really good. I'm really happy with this, and this got 641 stitches working on it for 30 minutes a day most days. It works out for this piece to be somewhere about 120 to 130 stitches. So I'm really happy with how that's coming along. The next piece I have, okay, we'll just do it out of order, is the Dragon Race Into the Night. This is a Heaven and Earth Designs piece based on the artwork by Rose Khan, and this is stitched on 25 count 1/1. This one got 611 stitches on it, and you should be seeing where you saw it last time, but here is where we're at now. So in case it doesn't really make it all that clear in that overview picture, but I have been putting some more time into this tree here. So if I can get it sitting right here, this is the bottom of the page and this is the edge of the page, so I've just been filling in that a bit more on that tree, so it's still in the shadows, and then over here, not far away from where I am, it starts to get a bit lighter as we get into some of the highlights and the areas where the light is catching the leaves and branches and things. So I'm quite happy with how this one's coming along. I'm just giving it a little bit of time to try and get past that tree. This is one of my older whips, and I would like to get some pretty good progress on it. But the thing that's been stumping me since I finished the top row of pages on it was the tree, or the knowledge that I had that I needed to do the tree. I could do other parts, but the tree was the better option. So this one, you can see all the pretty threads. They're in a little bit of a muddled mess at the moment, but they are very pretty, and these are on some of my 3D printed thread drops. These are an older version that I was using with my older printer, and they are a bit larger and thinner than the current ones. So these were when I was still in the testing phase, and while they worked, they just weren't as efficient, I found, as the newer ones, which are slightly smaller, slightly thicker, and they keep the same shape really though. Yeah. And so the next piece I have is my Planets Align number 7, and this is a Tilt and Crafts piece which is based on artwork under the Common Creative licensing. So this one got 634 stitches on it, so you can see where we're at now. You should have already seen where it was, but I am very close to finishing this page and being on the bottom row of pages. Anyway, so here it's looking. I'm really happy with how that's really coming along. And I love how this different light is making this look. It's really making those dark colours look really awesome. So this is stitched on 25 count 1/1, much like the Dragon Race into the Night was. And just in case anyone's wondering, these are on different thread drops. So these are on ones that I started before I got 3D printing. And so these are on acrylic thread drops that are kind of shaped like a raindrop that I bought off Amazon. The only thing with them, they're very thick, so you need a large ring to put them on. I think this has only got 60 colours, and yet this is quite a significant sized ring, and that means that when being stored, I find that they get tangled very easily amongst each other. So before I even start, I have to run my fingers through and just get any tangles out that are between all of the different colours. So I find that happens when they've got a lot of movement on the ring. So it's some of the reason that some of my newer ones that I've got are kitted with a ribbon tying the threads all together. So moving on to the next piece, we've got, so the aim for the Planets Align is to finish it by the end of the year. There are a few of us who have gotten together in a Facebook chat, and we all have a piece that we broke up into 12 parts at the start of the year and decided we're going to have this finished by the end of the year. So I am pretty much on track, probably a couple hundred stitches behind now because I didn't do much on it in June after doing some quite big focus on it in May. I think going forward for July, I might use it as my 30 minutes a day project, so that means I'll get at least 600 or 500 stitches done a week, hopefully, and that might be enough to promote getting that closer to a finish and get some consistent progress on it. So the next piece I have to show for you today is Archer. So this is a pain-free crafts piece based on the artwork by Esmira, and this is stitched on 25 count 1/1. So here we go, and you'll see I was working in these clouds up here, and don't those clouds look amazing? I don't know how they do them, but that shading is spectacular. And I also worked a little bit with some of these park threads over here, just filling in a few random colours here and there. You will see there are some pins that I've been using. Hold on, here. So these are marking the bottom corners. So when I got the advent box from Chromatic Alchemy, it came with these 2 counting pins. Spectacularly useful things. The only thing with them I found was that a couple of the beads on the top end of them came unglued and they were very easy to lose. So it meant because the beads came unglued, they weren't very helpful. That was weird. They weren't very useful unless I re-glued them, which I did. It didn't last all that long. So I bought some pins online and thought they would work great for counting pins. So they're still a work in progress. They will probably eventually end up on my Etsy store once I get a few things sorted out. So they've got a cap on them. They're not hugely sharp, which is great. So you're not going to stab yourself and end up bleeding with them. And they've got a little, so they've got the cap on them, which means that they'll stay in place when you put them in there. And then I've got a little ring at the end, which I've connected some wire with a bead. That is the part that's a work in progress. That ring with the loop at the end means that you can hook it onto a ring for use with your threads. It is a bit of a work in progress getting them all so that the wire is going to remain all nice and neat and not cause any issues. So yeah, one of the other biggest issues I had with the ones from Chromatic Alchemy was they were so easy to lose. So I'll just put that one back in. So you will probably see more very shortly with another piece I have, because I've made a few of them and I'm just kind of testing and nailing down the making of them. And here's Luna for a visit. Hey. So Archer, coming back to Archer got 754 stitches on it, so she's coming along quite nicely. I would really love to get to the end of this row of pages very shortly, but time will tell. I think she's very much absorbed in the shadows. Okay. This is where Archer's bag is. I'll show you the next piece, which is the other one that's got the counting pins in it that were very useful for me. And this is my supersize Winter Wonderland charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, based on the artwork by Philip Straub. So this is the one that I initially started as a mystery piece, and then it got figured out. I couldn't believe how quickly it got figured out. So it's a very big piece of fabric. This is on 25 count 1/1. So you should be seeing where you saw it last time, but that's not going to really help all that much. So I worked out that some of the reason I was struggling to work on this piece was due to where I had started. I very much like my top corner starts, and I didn't start there, so I think that was why I was kind of struggling a little bit to come back to it. So this one got 1,042 stitches on it. You can see Luna's tail. So what I did was I went to where I had this partial tree area filled in and counted all the way up, about 200 stitches up to the top, and you'll see the pins are in here too. I left them there, and I've done 1,042 stitches here. So what I'm going to do is work on this top page up here, and then do the page below it, and then another page until I reach the tree area, and that will make me feel a lot better about this piece's start. So yeah, it's a very big piece of fabric, even on 25 count. So it's definitely not going to be one that travels well. Let me just fold this back up. So I found the counting pins are really handy in that I can count to a point, put the pin in, double count it, and check that it is actually that value, and then continue my way up. In the past I've used needles, but sometimes needles aren't that easy to spot, and the bead kind of makes it a little bit easier. Okay, I think I probably had issues with the needles because I stitch with 28 size needles, so they're pretty small. The next one I have, I think I've got 2 more. Yes, is the Halloween Village Afghan. So you just trying to avoid the glare from the light. I'll probably put a photo in, might be easier. So it comes in a little book, and this one got 1,409 stitches on it. Yep. So this was starting page 3. So you should have seen where it was already last time, but what I did was hold it up rather than hold it flat. Okay, so the bird on the previous page finished about here, and so I did the checkerboard pattern around the outside, and this is the very top of the pumpkins greenery, and then I started on the orange for the pumpkin. I also did some of the checkerboard down at the bottom, down to the point where the rope that the bird is holding is. Really loving how this is looking so far. It is looking awesome, and it's exciting. And this one, just for interest's sake, I used, oh wow, this, I don't think I detangled this at all, and it's in a pretty big bag because of the fabric. So yeah, these have gotten into a little bit of a tangle, but these are the thread drops. These are purple ones that these are on, and this uses CXC thread. So that is sometimes the downside I find with CXC, is when they're on a hanging system, they do tend to tangle a little bit more, but you just have to run your fingers through them, and here we go. They all look all nice again. You'll see this one has a couple of blue thread drops on it as well, and these are just the hand dyed threads, and it's got a tiny little tag. It's littler than the normal ones. It was from my testing phase. So this is the Threadworks Fantasy Island, so you can see it's brown and it's got a little bit of variegation in it. And then the other one is the Weeks Dye Works Hazelnut, which is brown as well. It's got a few darker and lighter things in it, but I would say that the variegation is much more subtle with the hazelnut than it is in the Fantasy Island. And this has got 3 cards of thread, and this was one that was 20 yards from memory. There's also a glow in the dark, but that is on rolls of Krennic. So yeah, let me just put this one away. I should, after I finish this, film my a whip parade, so trying to keep things as neat as possible to make life a little bit more easy. Okay, so I have one last piece to show for you today, and that is the Mythical Alphabet. This is also a pain-free crafts piece, and this is charted based on the artwork by Stanley Morrison. So last time you saw it, I had finished about half of the N, or nearly half of the N. So I finished off the N, as you can see here, and started the O. You can see I had a few issues counting over to it because of the number of fractionals all along the edge of the N. It made it, in the fractionals all along the edge of the O, it makes it really difficult to count over. So I just drew some lines using a friction pen, so I will erase them later on when it comes to the with a hairdryer to erase them. So the only way I found that I could actually count across was from the letters at the bottom and then count up and work it out that way, because of how each individual letter has its own 10 by 10 grids. They don't match up with the overall scheme, so it makes it a little bit challenging to work out where everything is. But overall, here's where we're at for the first, all the letters that have been completed. I'm gonna need to work out a way once I get below this at the bottom area, because it's gonna be difficult. The only way I can think of right now is going like this and making everyone rotate their heads or their video devices that they're viewing it on. I will work out a way of coming up with a solution, probably just moving the camera back or moving back myself, but it seemed like a fun idea. So that is all the pieces that I have worked on over the last week. So thank you for joining me. I hope you all stay lovely and warm, especially if you're in the southern hemisphere. I know here in New Zealand we're predicted to get some snow tonight. Fun times. Whether we'll actually get it, I don't know. It could be nothing, or we could get heaps. It's just can be one of those debatable things. Anyway, I hope everyone is having a great weekend and has a good start to July. And I know myself, I'm probably going to try and focus on some of my Christmas pieces, but I've got to be careful not to forget about other pieces as well. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day. It sounds like Luna is about ready to play and cause chaos, so I will leave you all to it. Happy weekends, happy stitching. Anyway, bye.